Hello and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. That's not 100% accurate this time around, to be quite fair, as this episode is actually a collaboration with another YouTuber, Kev's ABL Productions, on whose channel you will find a complete bevy of movie and retro game reviews. In this episode, we will be discussing the 2007 ghostly horror movie Wind Chill, starring Emily Blunt and Ashton Holmes, and as directed by Gregory Jacobs. This is actually one of two episodes that we have collaborated on together, one for each of our channels. Both have been released together tonight. Being close to Christmas, to get us kind of into that festive spirit, what a better way than to start and watch a couple of horror films. Why not? Set at Christmas, of course. The premise was simple. Choose a festive horror for the other to watch, ideally that the other hadn't seen, and then undertake reviews. However, this didn't go quite to plan. I had hardly seen any such movies. Kev had seen loads. So in the end, I just picked a film that I thought sounded good, which was actually 2008's British horror The Children, which is the companion review to this one, featured on Kev's channel, and Kev suggested Wind Chill for me, for mine. So again, being another movie I hadn't seen. So please do certainly catch our review for The Children. Yeah, also, if you can, also check out Kev's channel in the process. There's some fantastic material on there. I will be posting an intro to the review on my channel, so you will actually be able to catch the link on there if you are actually interested. So it's all kind of interlinked. But, so yes, Wind Chill. Firstly, an interesting point with the movie is that we never actually get to know the names of the characters in the film, of which there are really only two. I mean, there's a couple more, but the main aspect is there is only two characters in the movie that we follow for the most part anyway. So we've got Emily Blunt's character, or Gail, and Ashton Holmes, or Guy. I'm not sure what else to kind of really call them as I'm going through the synopsis. So, how about we just call them Emily and Ashton for the sake of this review? Yeah? Anywho, Emily, a student at a Pennsylvania university, is looking for her way home to Wilmington, Delaware. For Christmas, it's set at Christmas, and finds a lift with Ashton after seeing his advert for a rideshare on the university notice board. They are your typical kind of mismatched odd couple. Ashton is socially awkward, a bit of a geek, and obviously quite shy. Emily is pretty self-absorbed, arrogant, and even quite rude. Let's just say that the first part of their journey isn't exactly the most riveting part of the film. However, as we follow the pair on their journey, we do find out that there's a bit more going on than meets the eye, and it soon becomes apparent that Ashton perhaps knew more about Emily than he kind of first led on, and even perhaps kind of orchestrated the whole car share and road trip scenario to get some alone time with Emily that he may not have otherwise had. Quite stalkerish, if you like. Wanting to extend their journey, and after hearing that Emily was kind of bored of sitting on the interstate, going, no scenery and things, Ashton decides to take the more scenic, at night of course, mystery detour down a heavily snow-covered road in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a snowstorm. You know, just your typical jolly jaunt. Needless to say, it is no surprise when they are run off the road by an oncoming car and end up stranded, totally isolated in the freezing cold. As they struggle over the course of the night to trust each other and find a way out of their predicament, they are plagued by a series of mysterious, chilling, and nerve-wracking events that seemingly are beyond their explanation. So, I would like to now introduce Kev as part of our collaboration to offer his take on this movie. And so, yes, take it away, Kev.
Thanks very much, Lee. Okay, so yeah, Wind Chill. It's one of my Christmas films, one of my go-to films that I watch every Christmas. Watched this for about 10 years now. It's one of them really good horror films that I really like. It's the premise of a college girl who's trying to get back home to Delaware, unbeknownst that she has a secret admirer who has the intentions of spending a few hours alone in a car with her, and makes up this plan that he's driving to Delaware as well to have a ride share with her. Now, seeing this film for the first time, you have this worry of what's he got planned for her. Is he a crazy stalker? And down the line, there's some bits that he does let slip up, such as when he's saying about how good the glasses look on her, even though she's only ever worn them in a dorm. So there's only one way he could have seen that was if he was looking at her through a window without her knowing. And there's like the gas station as well, when he's asking the attendant for directions, and he's quite hush-hush with her. Well, us as an audience, we don't know what's happening as well with the guy and the gas station attendant. And when they do go off the road in the crash, you're not actually sure if he's arranged that for the crash to happen. So at this point as well, it could be considered like a psychological thriller right up until the supernatural stuff starts happening. And I think it takes a really good twist, like some other films like From Dusk Till Dawn, which starts off as like a gangster murder film, and then halfway through it just goes absolutely nuts. But that's what I like about it, because we never know what the guy's true intentions was going to be with the girl, because obviously with what happens, but he still seems quite disturbed, and you're not sure what he was actually going to do. And it's obviously going down the line, she starts feeling sorry for him, and he does technically save her life, but you just don't know what may have happened if they hadn't have come into that situation and they'd have got further down the road. So it's a really good film to like sit and watch and think of the what ifs, because obviously he was quite obsessed with this girl, like knowing exactly what she ate and with the grocery bag that she left out the car, and how he had this whole thing planned out of how they were going to fall in love. It's quite behaviour of a serial, like quite a disturbed stalker really, but because of what happens in the film, it's quite forgiven what he does, and it seems like she forgives him as well because of what happens. I mean, I don't want to get into the film too much in case you wanted to watch it yourself if you've not seen it before, which I advise you do because it's really good. I think it's one of Emily Blunt's first films, but she's really good at it. I think she plays the character really well. I mean, this kind of film as well, it could be set on a stage. It's just a very dialogue-driven film, considering it is a supernatural film as well with what goes on. It could easily be set on a stage. You could watch it as a stage play. It's that there's that much dialogue going on, and there's some really spooky bits like when Rocking Around the Christmas Tree comes on the stereo as well. That's always scary now. I mean, at Christmas time when we're driving with the wife, I always put the song on when we're driving somewhere dark. It always gives her the creeps. So yeah, it's one of the best Christmas horror films that I know, and it's still really good now. I mean, there is some really dated bits now as well, like a mobile phone looks like she's holding a massive brick. But yeah, for the time, it would have been like the top of the range mobile phones, and yeah, the acting's really good in the film as well, and I think it's the suspense of what's going to happen, and it's very story driven, and it's really good the way it builds up right to the end about how it ends. And to be honest, it's not a happy ending at all, but it's not a feel good film. I wouldn't really watch it and say if you wanted to have a feel good film, but it does what it says. It's a Christmas horror, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, that's why I suggested it to Lee on this collaboration to do a Christmas horror, and this was one of the first ones that popped in my head to watch as a Christmas horror, because it's one of the best ones, I think. Yeah, it's a really good Christmas horror film to watch, and I would recommend it definitely. So yeah, thank you, Lee, for this allowing me to be on your channel for this collaboration. I really appreciate it, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Kev, for that excellent review. It was absolutely fantastic to hear your take on this movie, for sure. And really, many thanks for actually suggesting it for me to watch. It was brilliant. So I must say that I was pleasantly surprised by just how gripping this movie actually was. I don't think it was particularly well received upon first release, nor widely shown, with most countries basically having the feature released straight to DVD, I think, from what I've read. And at the very least, with a very limited run in the cinemas, perhaps, I didn't know about it. So to be honest, I wasn't really expecting too much, a bit more of a low-budget kind of affair. But I thought, overall, it's been quite underrated, I think. Bringing us quite an intriguing story and a decent mystery to unravel as we kind of follow our two leads, trying to figure out just exactly what kind of game is being played. I was actually quite riveted, all told. It's fairly simple when all said and done. It's not really breaking any new ground at all. It is also not what you would call a hardcore horror, concentrating more on the plight of our two protagonists than kind of reaching for scares, per se. I would say that it was more eerie and suspicious, raising the hairs on the back of your neck kind of stuff, creepy, rather than kind of being outright jumpy or gory. What the film does do very well is kind of throw you off the scent, at least a few times throughout, as regards to the main direction of the movie and just what exactly you are about to experience as the audience. I do love it when a film starts as one thing, you think you have it all sussed, and then bam, it completely changes direction. It keeps you on your toes, and this film does that more than once. I did think they kind of missed a few tricks with a few of the surprises that they could have had. But hey, who am I to say, I was expecting a number of things to kind of occur that never did. I did enjoy what I got overall, but as edgy as the movie was, I think it could have served to have been a bit darker, perhaps, in nature. But then, that is just probably my more macabre sense of expectation, shall we say. It is fairly character-driven, given that we are really focused on the two primary characters, really, for the whole duration of the movie. They're not totally padded out. They don't even have names. But what we do get, we do get what we need to know pretty quickly so that we can get the basis for kind of what's to come. Or at least what the movie wants us to think is coming. Overall, I think this was a very clever little horror movie with a couple of decent twists and turns, Particularly, it's perhaps a little on the lighter side, with it being a more mystery come personal drama at times, with no real hardcore horror, I would say. But it's edgy, it's suspenseful, and presented fairly well. I think some of it could have been kind of padded out a little bit more, perhaps. Some of the more pertinent plot points could have kind of served better to be more fleshed out, a bit darker, I would say. But it is a fairly enjoyable horror, all told, which kind of really more than held my attention at the very least. So, that is my take on Wind Chill. In finishing, I would just like to say, again, thank you to Kev for his collaboration on this episode and bringing us his fantastic take on the movie. And, of course, for collaborating with me also on The Children. So do catch that one on his channel too. I would also like to thank everybody for actually watching our reviews. And, of course, if you haven't already, please do check out... I've just said that now, but please do check out our review of The Children on Kev's ABL Productions. So I am going to leave a link, like I said at the beginning of the episode, for the review on Kev's channel, if you're interested. I certainly recommend that you do check it out. I will also, it's kind of done in Kev style as well, so kind of mixed up the two styles of the two channels, so that's quite an interesting take. I will also ensure that a link to the review is also posted at the end of this video. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I do hope that you check out Kev's channel itself, where you will find other brilliant reviews of movies and definitely loads of retro video games. So, thank you very much for watching. That brings me and Kev to the end of this episode. I do hope you've enjoyed this collaboration as much as we've enjoyed putting it together. It has certainly been a very fantastic experience. Quite a lot of the collabs have been, and this one's been exceptional given the fact that I've watched a couple of movies I haven't actually seen before. And yes, one that I would be very keen to repeat in the future. So, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions, and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having you here at SciFirst MovieTalk. Definitely love to have you back. But yes, most of all, thank you very much. Goodbye.